Welcome to the United States of Islam News Channel. July 1st, 2023. According to Reuters, France riots. 45,000 police. Armored vehicles deployed to quell unrest. Fourth night of unrest hits major French cities. Government says all options on table for restoring order. Hundreds arrested. More than 200 police injured. Macron asks social media to take down sensitive videos. Funeral to take place of teenager shot by police. Paris. July 1st, Reuters, riots rocked French cities for a fourth night as the government deployed 45,000 police and several armored vehicles to tackle unrest sparked by an officer's fatal shooting of a teenager. France's Interior Ministry said that 994 people had been arrested overnight, compared with 875 the previous night. In violence that has plunged President Emmanuel Macron into the worst crisis of his leadership since the Yellow Vest protests. Violence committed during the night was lower in intensity compared to the previous night, the ministry said on Saturday on its Twitter account. Buildings and vehicles have been torched and stores looted in unrest that has spread nationwide, including in cities such as Marseille, Lyon, Toulouse, Strasbourg and Lille. Protests also continued in Paris, where Nahel M., a 17-year-old of Algerian and Moroccan descent, was shot during a traffic stop on Tuesday in the French capital's Nanterre suburb. His funeral is due to be held later on Saturday, sources told Reuters. Nahel's death, caught on video, has reignited long-standing complaints by poor and racially mixed urban communities of police violence and racism. Friday night's arrests included 80 people in the southern city of Marseille, France's second largest and home to many people of North African descent. Social media images showed an explosion rocking Marseille's Old Port area. City authorities said they were investigating the cause but did not believe there were any casualties. Rioters in central Marseille looted a gun store and stole some hunting rifles but no ammunition, police said. One person was arrested with a rifle likely from the store, police said. The store was now being guarded by police. More troops. Marseille Mayor Benoît Payan called on the French government to immediately send additional troops. The scenes of pillaging and violence are unacceptable, he said in a tweet late on Friday. Advertisement scroll to continue. 3 police officers were slightly wounded early on Saturday. A police helicopter flew overhead. In Lyon, France's third-largest city, the gendarmes police force deployed armored personnel carriers and a helicopter. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin had asked local authorities to halt bus and tram traffic and wrote to firefighters and police officers saying he could rely on them. Asked on a television news program whether the government could declare a state of emergency, Darmanin said, "Quite simply, we're not ruling out any hypothesis and we'll see after tonight what the President of the Republic chooses." In Paris, police cleared protesters from the iconic central Place de la Concorde Square on Friday night. More than 200 police officers have been injured since the unrest erupted and hundreds of rioters have been arrested, Darmanin said, adding their average age was 17. Macron earlier urged parents to keep children off the streets. Players from the national soccer team issued a rare statement calling for calm. Violence must stop to leave way for mourning, dialogue and reconstruction, they said. In a statement posted on star Kylian Mbappe's Instagram account, looters have ransacked dozens of shops and torched some 2,000 vehicles since the riots started. Events, including 2 concerts at the Stade de France on the outskirts of Paris, were cancelled. Tour de France organizers said they were ready to adapt to any situation when the cycle race enters the country on Monday after starting in Spain. Crisis meeting. Macron left a European Union summit in Brussels early to attend a second cabinet crisis meeting in 2 days and asked social media to remove the most sensitive footage of rioting and to disclose identities of users fomenting violence. Videos on social media showed urban landscapes ablaze. A tram was set alight in the eastern city of Lyon and 12 buses gutted in a depot in Aubervilliers, northern Paris. Darmanin met representatives from Meta, Twitter, Snapchat and TikTok. Snapchat said it had zero tolerance for content that promoted violence. A friend of the victim's family, Mohamed Jacobi, who watched Nahel grow up, said the rage was fueled by a sense of injustice after incidents of police violence against minority ethnic communities, many from former French colonies. We are fed up. We are French too. We are against violence. We are not scum, he said. Some tourists were worried. Others supportive of protests, as some Western governments warned their citizens to be cautious. Racism and problems with the police and minorities is an important topic going on, and it's important to address it. U.S. tourist Enzo Santo Domingo said in Paris. Macron denies there is systemic racism inside law enforcement agencies. In Geneva, the UN Rights Office emphasized the importance of peaceful assembly and urged French authorities to ensure that use of force by police was non-discriminatory. The policeman whom prosecutors say acknowledged firing a lethal shot at the teenager is in preventive custody under formal investigation for voluntary homicide, equivalent to being charged under Anglo-Saxon jurisdictions. His lawyer, Laurent Frank Lénard, said his client had aimed at the driver's leg but was bumped when the car took off, causing him to shoot towards his chest. Obviously, the officer didn't want to kill the driver, Lénard said on BFM TV. The unrest has revived memories of 3 weeks of nationwide riots in 2005 that forced then-President Jacques Chirac to declare a state of emergency following the death of 2 young men electrocuted in a power substation as they hid from police. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian has called for an emergency meeting of the foreign ministers of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, on the recent blasphemous act against the Holy Quran in Sweden. The Iranian foreign minister made the remarks in a Friday phone conversation with the OIC Secretary-General Hissène Brahim Taha. The 2 sides discussed the sacrilegious burning of a copy of the Quran outside a mosque in the Swedish capital, Stockholm. The OIC foreign ministers should hold the meeting at the earliest possible time to address the desecration, Amirabdollahian said. He pointed out that the meeting can be convened at the same time as the ministerial meeting of the Coordinating Bureau of the Non-Aligned Movement in Baku, Azerbaijan, on July 5 to 6. The top Iranian diplomat once again condemned the recent provocative act against the Holy Quran. In a repeated and state-authorized instance of sacrilege against the Muslim holy book, 2 men stood outside the Central Mosque in Stockholm on Wednesday and burned a copy of the Holy Book following a go-ahead given by a Swedish court. The move was made to coincide with the Muslim festivity of Eid al-Adha. which marks the conclusion of the annual Hajj pilgrimage that is partaken by millions of Muslims from across the world. Many Arab and Muslim countries have condemned the move. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi said Friday the Muslim world will never overlook the recent act of sacrilege against the most valuable divine book in a Western country that claims to defend free expression. According to Reuters News, Pakistan clinches last-gasp $3 billion IMF bailout. 9-month deal is more than Pakistan expected. IMF points out power sector's acute conditions. Pakistan to target primary surplus of 0.4% of GDP. IMF. $1 billion to be disbursed after July. IMF board. Lahore, Pakistan. June 30, Reuters, Pakistan secured a badly needed $3 billion short-term financial package from the International Monetary Fund on Friday, giving the South Asian economy a much-awaited respite as it teeters on the brink of default. The IMF said it had reached an agreement on the deal with the $220 million nation, which will now be subject to approval by its board in July. The new 9-month standby arrangement was struck hours before a current IMF agreement expires, offering a relief to Pakistan's acute balance of payments crisis. Thanks for watching with us. Come back and visit again.